Hey, good afternoon. Thank you everyone for coming to our virtual Lunch and Learn webinar on our online graduate programs in the Civil Construction Environmental Engineering at NC State. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me this afternoon. So I want to just provide you with an overview of, our program. We've been doing distance education since 1978. Originally, it was mailed VHS tapes, and I have no idea how that actually worked, but it did. And so we've been working with professionals, trying to get higher education for a long time. And everything's obviously all online now. We have 16 graduate degrees and certificate programs, and there's over 170 classes that we offer each fall and spring semester. And we also offer summer courses as well. So we have a strong infrastructure in place for assisting students, and we know what students need. We're also highly ranked among online graduate programs in civil engineering and in environmental engineering for those 100% online programs that are available. So who are our distance students? So, you might want to know that if you're typical or not, or if you fit in. And so we have working professionals currently from 20 states. I think that's a little higher now, actually, but at least 20 states. And most of them do have a BS in civil or environmental engineering from a US university. We do accept people who don't have engineering backgrounds. And we'll go over, if there are additional prerequisites that you need before starting the program, and we can work with you figuring out what those might be. And these students are, many of them are supported by their employers, or they're self-funded, or there's, potentially government grants and things that are available for certain students to pursue their graduate degree. The age range is anywhere from 22, so people just fresh out of undergrad, to up to 60, and the average is, about in the mid 30s. So these are people, in general, who are kind of coming back. They've been working for a while and they want to, gain additional knowledge and certification, to further advance their career. So we have our master's degrees. Like I said, they're 100% online. You never have to come to campus. We have degrees in civil engineering as well as environmental engineering. And so these are our MCE and MENE programs. And so the big thing is these courses and degrees are the same taken by the on-campus students. They're the same lectures, assignments, instructors, as well as rigor. So it's all, ABET accredited in the same way. It's all the same courses and everything. And, that's big for people to understand. They hear online education and they could get a lot of different thoughts in their head about that. But, this is just our graduate programs, offered online via distance education. And the other big part is that rigor, that, this isn't, this isn't some simple thing that you can just knock out. It takes, you need to have the time and dedication to really, get through the courses. And so you can also take individual courses as a non-degree student. So if you're not sure you want to commit to a degree right away, you can take individual courses, and then as a non-degree student, and up to 4 of those can then eventually be applied to your master's degree. So that's a good way to get started, if there's specific things you want to learn, or if you want to see how taking classes at this point in your life really fits into, your other obligations to potentially work or family or what have you. So the degree requirements, so you need to complete 10 3-credit hour courses, and you need to maintain a GPA of over 3.0. So everybody will work with an academic advisor. You'll have an academic advisor assigned to you to develop a set plan of work. So those will be the 10 courses that you take for your specialization. So this is really focused on, designing a program that really fits your wants and educational needs. And so everybody kind of takes, will take a unique set of classes. And there is no thesis requirement for these virtual classes. There are ways that you could do, independent research or something as part of, as one of your courses. And, you could do research projects like that, working with your advisor or, another research advisor, but there's no thesis required. Course logistics. So this is a big one that people, think about. So the lectures are typically recorded in studio classrooms, And then the videos are made available after class, usually within like a half hour. There's typically 3.5 hours of lecture per week and another perhaps 4 to 6 hours of work outside the lecture. So homeworks, reading, studying, etc. That's all included in the outside of lecture. Assignments are turned in online, typically PDFs, but they could also be, you know, Word documents or spreadsheets or what have you, or via Moodle. Exams can be taken remotely with an approved proctor, and I will go into, you know, what sort of proctors we accept in a later slide. So exams, if it's like a sit down, you know, in-class exam, then you'll take it with a proctor following the same guidelines as the on-campus students. And so students who work full-time will typically take 1 course per semester. 2 is not uncommon, but it is a significant time commitment. And, you know, it's probably best to start with 1. And then if you feel like you have more time, then you can ramp up to 2 to get more done faster. And also, you know, the other thing with the course logistics, you know, the instructors as well as potentially TAs will also offer virtual office hours of at least 2 hours, typically set, as well as by appointment. So you can get that face-to-face interaction and get, you know, questions answered and have, you know, direct feedback from your instructor. So the allowable exam proctors. So NC State does have a distance education testing service. So this is, you know, a lot of our students do live in the Raleigh area, but they work full time. So if you are in the area, then we have our testing service that you can use. Other universities or colleges or private testing centers are also available. Military training, education officers, supervisors. So basically, it's generally someone who has a position of authority with, you know, a demonstrably impartial relationship. So this isn't an all-inclusive list. There could be other people that could potentially fill the role, and we would approve them. You know, before you take the exam, you can say, you know, this person may proctor. You know, you're looking for this person to proctor, and then we'll approve it based on their relationship with you. And that's, you know, obviously we're trying to maintain the integrity of the degrees and the exams to ensure that everyone is playing by the same rules. So what are the specializations that we offer that, you know, I talked about how you design your own plan. And in civil engineering, we have computing and systems, as well as construction, environmental, water resources, and coastal engineering, which has its own specializations in the environmental engineering degree program, geotech and geoenvironmental, mechanics and materials, structural engineering, mechanics, as well as transportation materials and transportation systems. So, you know, and each one of these specializations has its own potential requirements of required courses, required electives, as well as, you know, open electives that you'll work through with, you know, your advisor to kind of figure out a plan that works best for you. An environmental engineering degree program, we have air pollution engineering, coastal engineering, energy systems, environmental processes, modeling and systems analysis, as well as water resources. And so it's the same things with these. You know, you'll work with your advisor to develop a set of courses that works for, you know, your goals and needs. So graduate certificate programs, and we're really excited about these. And right now we have one in earthquake engineering, and these are 4-course graduate certificates that, you know, focus on one very specific area in civil or environmental engineering. The only one we currently have available is in earthquake engineering, but we are looking into developing additional programs in global water sanitation and hygiene, perhaps energy systems, environmental process engineering, and water resources. So these are all things we're looking in. So you can take 4 courses, still get that certificate that says, you know, this is what you've completed. And then those 4 courses, you could then also apply to, you know, getting that master's degree and continuing on from there. So this is a good way that you could go from taking 1 or 2 courses, taking 4 courses and getting a certificate to, you know, and then you could stop there and or, you know, continue on and get that master's degree. So the application requirements for the actual master's degree, you need a bachelor's degree from an accredited program in civil or environmental engineering or something that's closely related. So depending on how closely related, you may or may not need additional courses. I came to the program with a mechanical engineering degree, and I didn't need to take additional courses. It also depends on what your specialization is, on what you may need to take. So a lot of other engineering may or may not need to take things. But if it's further afield, in the sciences or math or something, there may be more courses that you need to take in order to be eligible. So you want a overall GPA of at least 3.0. There are some ways to get exemptions from this for extenuating circumstances or work since then. And then the completed application just has unofficial transcripts to start. We'll get official ones later. Statement of purpose, resume, and then 3 letters of recommendation. So it's a relatively quick application. And you can get the application and we can review it relatively quickly and give you an answer. And right now we are below capacity. We have more spots open than we currently have students right now. So if you meet our requirements, then we will have a spot for you in the program. If there's no red flags or anything along those lines. So application requirements, if you want to start as a non-degree student, so you just want to take a course or 2 courses, you must be in good standing from your previous institutions, you weren't expelled from them. You must have the course so that you must meet the prerequisites for taking that course. We don't want you taking some advanced structures course if you haven't, taken, statics or something along those lines yet. And then your completed application would still have, you would still need your unofficial transcripts, and obviously just the basic information as well, name and address and things like that. And then the unofficial transcripts just to confirm that you do meet the prerequisites. And then you can take the courses as a non-degree student. So that's another way. If you have a GPA that's lower than 3.0, you can take some of these classes as a non-degree student and improve your GPA, show that you are capable of working at a graduate level and doing the work well. And then, you could take 4 non-degree classes, then apply for the master's. And then from there, all 4 of those classes could then be applied to your master's degree as well. So that's a great way to do it. And a lot of people do go that route. Here is the list of classes for fall 2021. I'm not going to go through all of these. There is a link available there, and you can also search for it. But we do offer a lot of classes every semester, and there are classes in other engineering disciplines that you could also potentially apply to our program, perhaps in chemical engineering or biological and agricultural engineering. And that's about building that specialization and looking for the electives that make sense in that specialization. Here are the costs for NC residents. If you're a resident of North Carolina, a single course costs about $1,500, and then it just goes up by about $1,500 for each class. It's just a linear increase. And this is a relatively good rate that we found that, a lot of employers will reimburse you for 1 to 2 classes per year. And this is also a very good, if you're looking in the state of North Carolina, for the quality, for the price, you can't beat this if you're a North Carolina resident. There's also, so if you're not a North Carolina resident, there are increase in prices. So it's about $4,000 per course. And here are additional resources to just learn more about our department and engineering online as well. And so these resources can answer a lot of your questions. And you can also, look at our different forms to get additional information based on that. So that's all I had to present today. So I will be around if people do want to chat afterwards, but that's kind of the end of the formal program of the webinar. So I really appreciate you being here. And, I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing your applications. Great. Thanks a lot.